Sandra, and a very warm welcome to everyone, past and present, and what I call repeat offenders, those people who like to sit in the company of the unseen. Hopefully, over the time that you and I have shared together, be it for the first time or for many times in the past, that you have fallen in love with the idea of natural mediumship. And what I mean by that is you cannot manufacture mediumship. If we could bottle it and write about it and then give it to everyone, it would make our world much more easier to work with. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And I thank God it doesn't, because it is a personal journey. And you've got to understand that mediumship will talk to you in a most personal manner. Some of us may feel the information, some of us may hear the information, and some of us may be able to see the information, but also wrap that all in one experience. We may have all three. Some of us can deliver it in front of just one person, others can deliver it upon a platform to many. Some people can sit in a chair like this one and close their eyes and the voices can manifest, or they have to use the vocal cords of the medium to then give wisdom and thoughts of philosophy. Some people use their hands to do healing. Others use their hands to turn over cards to have inspiration that uplifts the soul of the person in front. But however it pulses through you, however it moves you to that place of knowing, it is unique to you. Some of you may have known of my past, and some of you wish to recreate my past within your circle. But to understand that mediumship is unique and the peculiarities that had happened to me will be different to you. But deep within that vein, there is the same power. We go back to that same source that we are able to use and work with to keep the door of the unseen open, so that the spirit world are able to walk back with us and to find their voice through our senses, so that we can share so much with those individuals. Now, remember, ladies and gentlemen, that the purpose of what you are about to do with your gift is to heal the need of the bereaved and heal the need of the spirit. Both worlds coming together in unity through you. That means that we have to be partial, in the sense of we cannot lean more in one world or lean towards the other, because if we do, we will lose the communicator, or we may lose how the sitter is receiving the information. So we've got to sit like in a figure of eight, but directly in the middle. So the power passes through us, over the sitter, passes back through us, over the communicator. And we've got to remain partial. And that means allowing our minds to be used in such a way that is able to be held by our beloved friends and also their relatives. But the deepening of mediumship can move us towards the auto states to the trance states, and that is an area that seems to be sitting well with upon my soul, and what my soul has come to share with the world at this moment. Now, you may think, oh my goodness, Scott, you're rambling, but let me ramble a little longer. And there is purpose to this, because I need to help you to understand, is it the spirit world that switches the gift on, or is it ourselves, our soul? Now, the spirit world is ever around us, always around us. We are a world within a world. We are a breath within a breath. So if the spirit world switches us on, then we've got to beg to the spirit world to say, look, I'm ready now. But it isn't the spirit world, it's the soul's power within igniting, so that the spirit world can use that vibration to then speak to the soul's ears, to see through the soul's eyes, and to speak through the soul's voice. So really, ladies and gentlemen, if you are struggling with your gift at the moment, we can't blame the spirit world. We've got to look within and build up that relationship. Now, some of you may have heard this before, but I would like to share it to you again, that if you look back in your life, you'll find that mediumship may have come through the bloodline of your family, or you may have been the one that has been awoken by the voice of the spirit when you were younger. For instance, how many here were able to see the spirit world, hear the spirit world, and touch the spirit world when you were children? And others would say, I don't see what you see, and therefore it's your imagination. Clearly, it is part of your imagination, because it's allowing the mind to be used in such a way. But it was so natural to you then. And you normally find that you would see the spirit people when you were playing, when you were bored, or when you were going to sleep. The mind is in a different way of thinking. It's away from the logic at this moment in time. And as you grow, my little flowers, you may find that your mediumship you grow out of, while others grow within it. So you may find that throughout your life, you had glimpses that there's something there, but now a voice has called to you and said, now the work begins. And that means that the soul itself must step forward. Now, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine earlier today, and she asked me, what was I before I was born? And I said, I have no idea. However, what sits well with my soul is what Eric said, was that we are in the soul world, born to this world to become the spirit and return to the spirit world. So for me, it is about the soul becoming sensitive to the spirit world. So as a medium, we've got to make sure that the power that emulates from us, which is psychic, becomes spiritually active, spiritually blessed, and therefore mediumship can then take flight. All of you are psychic because you all have a soul. You all have that power within you, and the soul resides where you find happiness. So if I was to tell you a joke or show you my bunnies or show you something which should melt your heart, wherever you feel that gooey feeling is where the soul resides. And that area must become stimulated whilst we bless that power. Now, some of you may feel uncomfortable with the word prayer, but prayer is offering words that knock upon the door. It sets the intent. Some people's prayers can be wrapped in the most delicate of silk, and others can be as sharp as the butcher's knife, in the sense of that it can cut quite quickly instead of blessing the power. How many of you, and I'm not knocking the churches at all, but how many of you have gone to a spiritualist church and poor old Doris, who's covered in dust and there's fake flowers all around her, she stands up to do the prayer and she says, great spirit, we're here today. And you feel there's no passion, there's no power to her prayer. A prayer sets and lays the table of the banquet for the spirit world to feast upon. So a prayer must always come from self, from soul to the spirit world. And some of you who are mediums may be finding that you need a little tweak here and there, a little tweak here and there. And that's because you need a bit of power that's blessed. So your prayers should always come from self. They should never be rehearsed. You should always expect that your prayers to hit where it's needed and you sit. Now, if you let me just step to one side for 1 second, within this room, there's 4 chairs. This one being the biggest, but there's a backstory to that. But then there's chairs around me. And on a Wednesday, 3 other people sit in this room with myself, and none of us are the medium. We sit and make ourselves available for the power of the spirit. And each week, one of us do a prayer. So last week was my turn. The week coming is Darren. But each time, for instance, I do a prayer, I bring a physical power to that evening. Darren, when he does a prayer, he brings a kind of mental mediumship. So we all start to see visually. Another lady, Debbie, as she does her prayer, brings in philosophy and healing. Beverly brings like the old power, and that is the encompassing of all of us. So whoever does a prayer kind of sets the tone of the evening. So if you are wanting to develop mental mediumship or trance mediumship, or just to develop the power, your prayer should embody that, so that you set the power of the intent so that you can sit within it. Now, if I was to ask each of you to demonstrate, you're going to show me what you have been able to achieve over the years of sitting, over the years of failing and successing with the spirit world. But for me, we seem to plateau when we do so. We can teach you of how you can develop your interaction with the spirit, but also your deliverance of the information. For instance, there was one time that a spirit person said, I didn't know how much brains I had until I saw it squirted on the floor. Now, you cannot say that to a person in front of you, because we have to be sensitive to the person in front may have found their loved one who has taken their life and may have found the devastation afterwards. So we have to then put it in the sense of, I have a gentleman here who does go to the spirit world by his own hand, and I understand that you may have found him. Is this correct? And the spirit person may say, no, say it in the way I say it. And you say, look, let me build to this. Let me build to this. But if you came to class, I don't want to see what you can do. I want to develop what you can do. And everything that is to do with the spirit world, you can do by yourself. Because again, if you look back when you're a child, you may have been by yourself when the spirit world started to talk to you. Or when you're in bed at night, when your significant other may be asleep. Or if you have the luxury of having the bed to yourself, you may find that the spirit world comes to talk to you. So there's no harm that has happened to you. So you can sit in your power by yourself. The trance states are slightly different because the spirit world's an intelligence, and they may not come through to speak to an empty chair or a recorder, because we can have memory mediumship. But we'll build structure as we go along tonight. So my approach, which I hopefully would whet your appetite and also make you thirsty to sit by yourself and see if it is possible, is to have no expectation besides making yourself available for the spirit world, inviting your friends to sit with you and sit in that power. When we sit in power, you and I, we sit in this vibration that may seem like you've gone nowhere, but time has no grip upon you. The minutes turn to seconds, and it feels like you only sat for about 3 to 5 minutes. In actuality, you've sat for almost 40 minutes. And in that spiritual rest that you're in, the light of who you are is starting to develop, mature, and the vibration between you and the spirit is starting to become more in tune. And as it becomes more in tune, then your understanding of the spirit mind will be a much more deeper connection. Now, we are doing this class backwards because ordinarily I would get you to sit for the power first, because that should always be our structure. Before we work with the spirit world, we must sit in power first. But in tone, I wish to kind of swap it around. So I want to give you some ideas, maybe, first of all. I would like you, if you will, just to close your eyes. Just close your eyes just for a moment, wherever you are, as long as you're not driving, because that would be silly. You'll be the perfect medium if you do that. And we would have to be called for healing for you. But I want you just to close your eyes, and I want you just to feel how it is to be in the moment. So what I mean by that is I want you just to feel the rise and fall of your breath. You may hear the inflow and outflow of your breath. And I want you to just concentrate at this moment of the atmosphere around you. How does it feel? What does it sound like? And if there are earthly sounds beside my voice, maybe a little louder or soft, just try and push those sounds away. And I would like you now just to send a thought or two into this sacred space around you of saying to the spirit world, are you there? And can I feel your love? Those simple words. And I want you just to become aware of any subtle changes. Be it if you feel warmth or cold, pressure, or if you feel tingling around your head, or your heart may flutter. Pressure around the head and ears. And just take that moment of simple words that are dipped in the oil of your love. And when you wish, just bring your focus back. Just bring your focus back gently and softly, breath by breath. I just want you just to recognize how you feel, that power around you. Just take a breath in, give it back, and just open your eyes just for a moment. It's very simple what I've just asked you to do, but many people will refer to this idea of tuning in. Wave at me if you've heard that phrase, tuning in. I used to hear it all the time. I'm just going to tune in. And it used to drive me mad because I think, what am I tuning in? What am I doing? And tuning in is just you listening to the atmosphere around you. Now, when you release a thought to the spirit world is listening. And you've got to recognize the very subtle changes within your thought process of how you feel. For instance, as I was talking to you, my legs went icy cold, which is a very common thing for me, that my power is changing. I get a static around the head as the presence of the person that's guiding me draws closer. So, what I'm asking you to do is just to recognize when you close your eyes and just listen to your atmosphere, and then speak into the spirit world and saying, are you there? And if so, just be closer to me because I'm listening now. So I want you to use this very simple and very, very basic idea of just building up that conversation. Now we're going to do it again. And there's going to be a lot of this toing and throwing, you and I. But I've got 2 hours with you, and 2 hours is like a drop of rain in the ocean when it comes to our subject. So I'm just going to throw loads of stuff at you and then hopefully knit it together in one beautiful tapestry by the end of it. But I just want you to close your eyes again. And as you close your eyes this time, just listen to your atmosphere again and just recognize how you feel. And when you do so, I would like you to think of someone who you have loved deeply, who you have shared laughter with and created beautiful and deep memories. But this person now lives within the world we call unseen. I want you to think of that person or that animal. Think of them and remember the laughter you have shared, the smiles, and in your mind, just ask that person to be close. Close for a moment. By releasing that thought, just again look at how you feel. Is there a change to your atmosphere? Is there warmth or cool? Does the atmosphere feel light or heavy? Are you remembering things that you had forgotten a moment ago? And you can use this moment to share a thought with them, maybe words which were not spoken before. And just be aware of how it feels around you. And when you wish, because we never say goodbye, just lean your thoughts back to my voice just for a moment. Then take a breath and give it back. And just slowly bring your mind back to the here and now. Deepen your breath, move your fingers, and when you wish, just open your eyes again. Now, I want you just, because you maybe think Scott, you're crazy, and I love you for it. I want you just to be aware of how it felt when you first started to where you feel now. And you may find that when you think of your loved one or think of your friend, there's like a tremendous peace that ascends on you. Or you may feel this kind of cocooning around you. When we work as mediums, we work with helpers and we work with relatives, and they bring a different power. And it's about us recognizing when we are working with philosophy or we're working with evidence. Because many people who come for a sit-in may want to have guidance, which means that we have to work with the inspirer. Some people don't want to hear from rallies, or others don't want guidance, but they want relatives there. And this can be adapted. Did you know that if you are called by police, you may have to work on cases where people have gone missing and they would like to know, are they still walking the earth, or now are they over in the spirit world? And they may give you a name or they may give you a photograph that you are to focus on. And again, like I've just asked you, to think of that person How would they have sounded if they were to talk to you now? What memories would they share if they're in the spirit world? And you'll notice that there'll be a power that ascends on you, and you as a medium will work with that power. Now you could say, Scott, what's this got to do with altered states and trance? Well, when we work as a trance medium, we work with inspirers, we work with helpers, and on occasion we work with loved ones. And the loved ones could give us a different feeling that the medium may find a little bit strange as they're blending, and therefore resist the trance states. So let's go further, if I may. And remember, we are doing class backwards, because there is homework to this, which I'll come back to in just a moment. I would like us to lay the table for the trance states, but we're going to have the music off for this moment because it's not going to be long. But again, this is practice. So you can practice at home, inviting the spirit there. You can now practice by inviting a loved one there, or work with a photograph or a name that may be given to you. You may find that you get a lot of missing animals, and an owner may reach out to you and say, look, if I give you this name, what do you feel from it? If the power is really good, what would be lovely if the person walks in and you can see the animal walking behind, or they may run in the room first, and you're like, oh, I've got a black cat here, and they were like, oh no. Well, that's answered that question. But this is why we work as mediums. We work to bring support to those who are in need. Now, please don't get confused with the psychic at this moment, but we will wrap that all up in just a moment. I want us just to kind of give you an idea for the trance states, if I may. So I would ask you to close your eyes. I know it's a lot of backwards and forwards, isn't it? But close your eyes. It's mental aerobics. My mental aerobics, I got physique as someone who's very muscly, but physically I am not. But within my mind, I'm very sharp. So close your eyes and remember, our prayer sets the intent. So I would like you just to listen to these words that I offer to you. Wrapped in love and dipped in the oil of peace. These words are for you and for those who walk with you. To the Great Spirit, to our beloved friends and helpers, we are blessed to sit within your love and welcome your company as we are a group of strangers brought together by your love so that we leave as friends. But as we sit this day, take our love and take what is needed as we prepare ourselves to be held by your love and by your peace. May we find the strength to raise that cup that death has poured, the milk of human kindness, the yoke of peace. So as our hearts beat, feel the love that we have so that we can walk together upon the road of unfoldment. With those simple words, as it lays the table for all of us to meet. I would like you just to listen to every sound around you. The sound of your breath, the sound of your room, the sound of the place you call your home, and the outer world. If the rain is falling or the wind is blowing, whatever you hear, it will not disturb, but it will only bring you peace. So as the breath comes and goes, like the waves of the ocean that blesses the shore, feel yourself sinking into your chair. Feel your body mold to every facet. For if thoughts pass, let it find its rest. If any thought catches your attention, let it fade like the stars in the morning sun. If your chair was to move, how would it feel if it moved forward? Would it push you back? Or will you find peace as it moves from the noise of the world into the silence where my voice echoes off the walls? Would it please your mind if we were to whisper to you for someone who guides you, who gives you deep love, to ask them to bring their peace. As you gently blend to this moment, and how would it feel that within your heart you know you can welcome a love that has walked this earth before you were born. Would you welcome their presence? If they were to lean close to you, would you feel the beat of your heart as your soul recognizes that unknown friend? Would you feel this deepening as the presence of the unseen may creep across your awareness, like the gentle mist in the breaking dawn? If your mind was to think of a word or a sentence, what would it be? What seed would be planted for mighty things to grow? Would you allow yourself to go further? Like the rays of the sun that wraps its arms around the world. Can you melt into this river of peace that moves you to that place of rest? Just for this moment, I would like you to remember how you feel. Be it if you feel peace, or you can feel the reach of eternity. And just allow the tide of change to move within your mind as you gently become aware of sounds once again that walk with my voice. Your breath is followed by breath. Very gently, just start to bring your awareness back. This lace of love, this silk thread will only strengthen over the passing of our time. Take a deeper breath in. Share it back to the world. Move your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes. For those who may not have met me before, you'll know that it is important that you move your mind constantly into that place of rest. You may be saying, Scott, oh my goodness, I feel a little bit all funny. But that's a good place to be, isn't it? Feel a bit funny. Now, some of you are in another room, for instance, on Facebook, and there's some people I can see in front of me. So I'm going to ask the people who are in front of me. Now, if you could wave at me and see if it sounds familiar. When I was talking to you, did you feel yourself starting to kind of fade away? Starting to drift away. Some of you are waving frantically at me and I can feel the breeze. Woo! Some of you, did you find that certain words seem to touch you in some ways, like maybe sounded a bit louder or softer? Some of you are just waving at me again. Thank you very, very much. But did some of you feel like there was just a sense of peace with me? Just a sense of peace. I don't want to be disturbed. And the moment that Scott's flapped his gums, you think, oh, shut up, will you? Leave me alone. I'm not being offended by that, because that's a good place to be, because it shows you that you are now dipping into the experience. You're moving into it. And what I'm trying to get across to you so far in these 53 minutes that have passed, that it is simple for what you can do. It is all about intent of mind. Because I haven't asked you to paint a portrait, have I? I've asked you just to listen to the atmosphere. Now, I said at the beginning that if you are working now, you're showing me what you can do. And I want to develop what you can do. So I'm going to sit you now in the power. But as I sit you in the power, there will be a period when my voice will be soft and will fade away. But I would like to then hand it to the spirit world to speak. So you'll find that as we sit for the power, we'll move into the trance experience, where hopefully a friend of mine will step forward to speak with you. Some of you may have the opportunity to ask questions, I don't know, or it may just be a rambling sound of noises that will then take flight. But the homework at this point is for you to use those three ideas that I've asked you. Think of the spirit world, think of a loved one, and now blend. I would like you to practice with that. But before you practice, sit in the power. Remember, the power keeps the door open. It allows your reach to go further. So you sit in power, then think of your friend or your loved one, and then move into your mind into the altered states. So we're going to have a bit of music because it's fun. It's a new piece of music. Sandra has very kindly found it so it can be played in all areas of life. And if it's pleasing for you, please take it for yourself and work with it. So Sandra's just going to pop it on and we're going to see if it is soft for everyone. So those in the room, can you just wave at me if you can hear sound? Because I can hear it. Woo. Thank you very, very much. And hopefully those who are on Facebooky, you can hear this as well. So I'm just going to set the tone. I would like you just to close your eyes. And walk with me. I would like you, if you will, once again to listen to all sounds of life. The sound of your breath, the tone of my voice. the unfolding story of the music. For as the breath rises, it will fall. Like the rise of the sun, the setting of its day. Does your body find peace? And you give it permission to rest. Or the aches and pains of the day may fade. The strength of thought how your mind may walk from the past into the future. But let it rest in the presence of now. As your breath may rise, only to fall. The sun may set, and hide its warmth. As if the stars are seen, the world finds its peace. Stars remind us the sun's love can still be seen in the dark night. For when we walk the path, we leave the footprints only to remind what we have overcome. path may be long, the love will never leave. The song may be sang, heard no more. The memory may speak louder. The tear may fall. To bless the earth. Like a seed was given by the flower. Hidden from time. Bathed by rain, covered by snow. But will learn to rise. Only to bow again. As your mind drifts, like the breath of the wind, where does it go? As it brings you peace. From the hands of time. So drift now. Cloud in the sky. Move like the current of the stream that flows. To a place of rest. Where the soul is loved. And is known by all. us for a moment. Try not to concern yourselves if you are lost in the ocean of your dreams, for it is our world that finds you as your souls speak to us. For the gifts that have been bestowed upon you are gifts that are known not by your hand, but by the calling voice within you. And so many of your world find confusion when you are faced with the reality that death will come, but only to help you across the stream to the golden shores of our reality. But until all your world accepts, we call to all of you who are gifted to hold our voice with respect, so that we can share thoughts that comfort the mourner and heal the perplexed. To some who are present will find comfort with these words. Others will feel the reassurance of what you already know. For the path in which you walk will lead to the new horizon, where many will join you in the adventure of learning to control your emotions so that you can assist in the process of uniting the worlds together as one. For when you were lost in the moment prior to my voice, you were held by the eternal hands within the eternal love, in the ocean that will never be dry, but will only become greater with the passing of time. Many of you, as you walk and look over your shoulder, have seen the past and mourn, for we are to take you by the hand and walk with the eternal step to the lands that bring comfort. But so many once again exhaust all resources to learn from others whose ears are sensitive to the voice of our world. For was it not said that the kingdom of God is inside you? It is not of mansions of wood and stone. Split a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift a stone, and you will find me. That reminds all who hear those words that our world is within you. It is about you. But one does not have to travel across the lands, but to sit in the presence of patience, allowing our world to weave within you the fine gossamer of communication. For I have once said that the gifts that are bestowed upon you is wrapped in fine gossamer, which will open reverently and slowly. For one hands must master the tools in which they are given. For one may swing the hammer to create the blow, must be mastered so it does not break the stone. But each of you who are present have already felt the turning of our world, knowing that within your reach is the knowledge that will bring comfort to your own being and will help with your understanding of healing those who have fallen. But I have only come to remind you what is already written deep within your soul. Sandra, my dear, I trust that you are well.
I'm very well, Eric. Thank you.
If it is so your wish, let us proceed with the conversation or inquiries for those who have trouble upon their being.
Oh, thank you so much. We have new friends and old friends with us, and I thought maybe I could ask some questions on behalf of everyone.
If it is so your wish, let us continue.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Eric, I've heard you say many times that you're the voice of many. And I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about why you chose to work with the one we love and what your purpose is for sharing this form of mediumship.
Of course, my friend, but may I say this to you? Can we broaden it to all those of my world who wish to work with all who are present in your reality?
Absolutely.
For myself, as many have said, that I have chosen to work with the one we love, but in actuality we chose each other. Even know that I have come to bring reason to him. I am one that is attuned to him, and therefore I can hold the link, while others use the voice that is coated within the replication of what I believe my voice once sounded like. And therefore, my friend, I am the voice of many. Even know that your love focuses on my identity. It must be shared with many who come to surround and from the halls of learning. Our purpose here is not to insult your intelligence, but to win your reason so that you can make yourself available to a different way of accepting death. For it was once written in holy scriptures that it is a faith that welcomes you into the kingdom of God. It was written by man, and therefore man is flawed. For like your birth to this world, you will be born to ours. But our purpose with all of you, as each of you have others of my peers that stand with you, is to further your own understanding of your soul, but also to share others upon this path. For at the end of your journey, that all life must come to the golden shores of our reality, but some will welcome it, some will fear it, and our purpose is to melt away the fear, but also to bend your reason for you to understand that the body is borrowed from time and from the earth, but the soul belongs to eternity. So when one is facing the final moments with the one you love, that you will wish them well on the next adventure. The soul knows where it needs to be. The person has not died, but the family that is left behind has fallen into hell. And our words have come to try and save you from it, to bring reason to say that love can never die. And that is why when you look at what is left behind, you start to see them differently. You start to say it doesn't look like them because they are not there. They're within our world. So as you develop, my friends, you will develop in furthering your understanding of your consciousness, of your soul's nature, but you will also aid our world in the furtherment of our own understanding. As the purpose of what I come to do is to lose self in experience. And that is why I say to all of you, even though that my voice may be familiar to a name, it is the thoughts of many. Like Sandra is the voice of all you who are present. I am the voice of all those who are present from my world. Sandra, my dear, is that pleasing for you?
It is.
Let us continue.
Okay. You mentioned our development. What is a good way? I know there's many ways that we can develop, but we want to remember our divine nature. We want to be able to communicate with our loved ones. Is there a better way that we can do that through mindfulness, or what are your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts to this, my friend, is for all of you to accept that love can never die. For when you think of those who have gone before you, they live firmly within your memory, a memory that is a secret only to you and to others who can see them. For each of you to know at this very time that our world surrounds you. Even though that your world may seem dark, but the dawn is coming. No matter how chaotic your day may be, to find a sense of peace, to allow the soul to walk with you. Your gentle nature, your kind nature, to be sympathetic to someone else who may be a stranger to you. For if all of us who are in the world learn to love one another, then your world will be a brighter place. Even within our reality, we still have moments where we may view upon this in a selfish manner. And the purpose of our own progression is to destroy self, the point of judgment. Your world its own frequency has altered tremendously. So your thoughts must keep up with this time of change. This is why we've inspired the one we love to share only, to sit in the company of self. Though the books have been written, the ink is dry, for what we knew then is different to now. For when our world first spoke with you, it was in preparation of a dark time of war, where church doors were sealed and people believed that they could not commune with the Great Spirit. For we had to fan the flame of man's awakening to the realization of the eternal consciousness. For now the flames have caught and the fires burn, but still there is darkness once again. For unrest within certain countries, selfish nature. Remember, my friends, even though we have come to win your reason for you to accept the eternal life, it is furthering your soul's progression with wisdom and philosophy that nurtures oneself. But remember, wisdom is only wisdom if the words are understood. If not, it's a barrel of noise. So development, my friends, is getting to accept who you are, faults and successes, but working on your nature to make it brighter, for it to carry the light into the corners of your world. Is it not easier to love the lovable and slap those who seem to wrong you? There are people in your world who wish to do terrible things, but in their mind they believe they are doing right. Are these the individuals that need your warmth more than ever? Give your warmth to them if it is against your nature. I believe that is the right word for this situation. Then give your love to our world and we will give it to them. For where the world is needed most of your love. Sandra, my dear, is that pleasing for you?
It is very beautiful.
Let us continue.
Okay, I've heard you describe your world as the Golden Shores, and here there's much beauty, rainbows, butterflies, sunrise, sunsets. But the path between here and there, it's like crossing an ocean with mighty waves. Lots of fear, lots of suffering, so many different emotions, and very, very tough at times. Do you have some words of wisdom for navigating this journey called life?
Of course, my friend, but you have said in your statement the rainbows, the butterflies, but the rainbow only comes after the storm. The
True.
butterfly only comes after the morning of the caterpillar that emerges from the chrysalis. So the things of beauty that you see often comes from things that may be bitter to many. The fear of death has only come through man's ignorance to accept that there is life beyond life. But may I say to all of you, did you fear your birth? Do you remember the pain of your birth? Or do you remember the pain of others that were born through you? From the pain comes the peace, and the work begins. So those who were not through that pain who may not have experienced it for yourself, may I ask you, do you remember your birth? And may I say this now, will you remember your death? No, you will not. But as you walk the steps to the gates or the tunnel or whatever else has been explained to you by man, death is like falling asleep and waking up again. But when you wake, you are refreshed. The fear has faded. Anything that was imperfection has been made in the most perfect manner for you. The body may suffer. The body may recoil in pain. But you must try to reassure the one that is coming to the next step in their journey that they are loved and they will be at peace. If you can say this by word or say it by thought, the soul will hear it. The sadness to this story that those who observe this process will hold on to the memory of the one they love, having the waves of fear and pain, but try not to allow that to define the entirety of their life. For there are many days when laughter and joy rung out through your world. Hold on to that. But if you wish for us to boil the broth to its bone, but as the one is coming to the end of their journey, once again we will surround the individual and try to bring peace for all the mind. For when it is time for them to walk between the two worlds, we will steady their path. And they will hear the voice of their loved one calling to them. And it is a simple step. The etheric cord is severed, like it was at your birth, and nothing and no one will ever put you back. You will come to our side of life, it is a certainty. But the great world that awaits you knows no pain, it knows no fear. It is peace. It is the summer land that appears after the storm has passed. It will not end you. It will only silence you for a moment before the new steps upon the path in the golden shores of our world. And that is why we call it the summer land. In your world, everything is at its best in the summer land. And you will be at your best. Everyone who you have loved, everyone who has known your name will be there. And as you come to our world, it is only a brief moment until your family that stands behind you then steps forward and joins you, as there is no time in our world. Time is only what is made by man. That is why we do not feel frustration to you. You, all of you, are a slave to time. But whilst you have it, you become the master of it and tell all that love you, all who you care for, exactly what you wish. And tell them no matter what has happened, I have love for you, and I have no regrets. So to steady one through the course of the unknown, you must have faith that your soul knows where it needs to go. It is the body that feels pain, not the buried treasure that you hold and love so much. Sandra, my dear, is that pleasing for you?
It is. Are you ready for the next one?
Of course, my friend.
It's a common belief that once a loved one passes from our world, that people are alone and they need to consult a medium to get validation that their loved one is close. And I certainly feel there's times where that is appropriate. But I think you and I both believe and know that our loved ones are around us and very much part of our lives. What advice would you give as to how we can talk to our loved ones that are in your world, and maybe if there's a way we can quiet our mind and feel their love?
Well, of course, my friend, but may I say this to you? In the moment of the severance and the arrival of the newly arrived, there is that opportunity to come close to all those who they have loved. For they see the pain that you are in, and therefore they will do their best to remind you and to remind your soul that death is not the villain. When you are alone and you have a thought of happy memories, or indeed occasions that seem to honor, where did the thought come from? Who inspired it? Who wrote it? You may say it is the imagination, and it is the stages of coming to terms with the one that has stepped in front. But ordinarily, it is our world reminding you of it, because we wish to bring you smiles, not to see you in pain. But if your mind ever paints a picture of a torturous moment, it is from your mind, not of our world. If you start to think of grievance, it is of your mind, not from our world. Then we must draw attention to certain things that may occur in your world, maybe through song. For you to sing a song, then all of a sudden you realize, oh, they liked that song. Or if it plays on the wireless, then it reminds you that as you think of this song, they think of you as well. So playing songs that invoke the happiness helps to create that love that has never died. If we have to then influence our medium, then so be it. But we must have the desire to speak through the most purest of channels, not one that is smothered with ego, because it is not the ego you want to hear from. It is the love from the one you miss that reminds you They're like a shadow that will never leave you. You may turn out all light and darkness falls and you say, well, I can't find it. Or maybe the shadow has smothered you and to hold you. But every time you sleep, my friends, you come to our reality, or the fringes of our reality. And therefore you speak with all those who have preceded you, as well as have counsel from those who guide you. You just don't often remember. For if we are to walk in your dreams, you say, well, that was a dream, and that was that. If that is, then so it will. But our world will never stop thrusting our fists upon the pain to remind you that the greatest lie in the world is death, as there is no death. Is that pleasing for you?
It is. Thank you.
Let us continue, as time is against me.
Very good. I'll ask one more question and then whatever you'd like to say. It is in regard to prayer and healing. There are many with us right now that I know are suffering both physical pain and emotional pain. Could you talk about, could we self-administer healing and prayers and be able to also send those to other people?
Oh, of course, my friend. Of course. Remember, my friend, the pain is only to the physical body. The more one attunes to the eternal body, it can then stand in front and mask the pain or heal the situation. For some amongst you, with your eyes open, you are aware of pain, but when you sleep, in the deepest sleep, you are free from it because you are not present within the physical form. You are in the etheric form. The etheric body does not feel the pain. It is the overcoat which will take the soul to the spirit. And equally, it is the body that returns to communal through a medium. So, with the intent, you can heal the earth, heal each other, as well as heal yourself. If you are struggling to heal yourself, you may need an assistance through others that are gifted, that can use your love and wrap it within the love of the eternal spirit that brings harmony to the situation. Remember, my friend, that any ailment is merely a vibration that is not in rhythm with the human body. And therefore healing helps to dissolve the vibration so it can then continue to flow like the river. Remember, my friend, the purpose of anyone who is being anointed with the healing balm is not only to heal the physical body, to have the physical emotion, the spiritual emotion, mentally, because the gift moves throughout the whole being. When one dwells in sadness, the body is prone to ailment. And I speak gently when I say this to all of you. If one is suffering in the depths of grief, then illness can grow from it. It is only when the light returns back to you that you can overcome the ailment if you can. Happiness, smiles, these are the remedy to any situation. But to understand, my friends, there are certain conditions that need tremendous thought. If this is unable to be attained, then the body will become fragile and may come to the end of its journey. There are still people of your world that is infused with the tremendous root of healing. But we pray that their ego does not become the master, that healing is given with a gentle touch. We can do so much, but we need assistance from your world. Remember, not only is healing for all of you, it is for all life, including the earth below your feet, because the sun does not discriminate who it shines its light for. Neither does the healer. Neither does the individual that may move around in pain, but to understand also, you may feel pain in a part of your body, but it is not the root of the problem. It may be in a different part that is just being reflected at that moment. But there are many of my world that assist with the healing process. I myself only desire to offer you words of comfort that is motivated in a thought of healing. But others of my peer will work on the many layers, trying to bring balance back to the physical form. Sandra, my dear, as we have walked this path of many steps, many words have been shared to all of you. The gift of myself to all. Our world will never deny you. Our world will always stand with you. That is the promise that all who stand in the golden shores have made. As you are the proof of our lives, and we have survived death, and so will each of you. Remember, my friends, as Sandra has shared those words of the rainbow, after the storm has passed, peace comes. We're only dead to the world if we are forgotten. And within deep of you, we live within your hearts and within your day, until such times that you must bow to death. We are there to steady you into the golden shores and in the arms of eternity. Good day to you, my friend.
Good day, Eric. Sending love to you and those that work with you. Thank you.
Allow him to return to you in the natural state. Yeah. For everyone who is with me often knows that when I work in this way, sometimes when I come back, I get some information, and tonight is the same, but I'm a bit unsure, and I'm a bit pulled from pillar to post because there's two, but they're very similar. One is a young man who wears scrubs, medical scrubs, and he has bright colored underwear, because the way he showed it to me, he stood in front of me and he went like that, and as he lifted his hands up, I could see the top of his underwear, but they're all brightly colored, and he was always known to have um like bright socks and bright underwear. But he seems to be in a medical profession as well, or has links to medical. But he does feel, again, he was here 1 minute, gone the next. But separate to him, there is someone else who passes through a bomb, because he, again, this seems to be either links to army or links to something where I'm in response to things and something goes terribly wrong. So, and this is why I feel a bit confused, because there's two of them here, but they come together like brothers. They come together like mates. And as I work further, I feel that one is military and one could be like medical military. For some reason, I feel like this, but I feel that both of them come to the end of their time in service, and I feel that um, I have links where I can go over the world. For some reason, I want to talk about 9/11, but I know that's not my passing, but it's a trigger of this. I know of the Pentagon. I know of that area as well. So whoever this is intended for, be it today or in days to come, I have two boys here. One, I feel, has these scrubs on. I have bright underwear. I'm the life and soul of any party. I'm very quirky. There should be a photograph of me pulling faces and doing things like that. And then I have another person who, he's like a mountain. He's just a very tall character, great character. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and my life came to the end in service. I know that I was repatriated. I know that I have bits still of my room and of my bits still there, which was shared with his people, with his family. There's a young child that has been born since I've been gone. It feels like either my car was used by my family, but if it has to be sold, it has to be sold. It's all these kind of things. He is a much loved man in his community. He's been well respected afterwards. I know the name Ryan is important. Ryan, spelled Ryan. I think that's Ryan, because I see that word come up. I know Connecticut is important. There, Connecticut, because I see the haunting of Connecticut written above me. So he's trying to make references there as well. But his grandfather's in the spirit world, so I think mum and dad are still here, and I still feel they're together. The other lad, um, I feel I want to lean towards a sister, and talk about that. There's something to do with Barney as well, because I get the dragon, the Barney dragon, I think it's called, the purple with the green Barney, and I see Barney Rubble as well from the Flintstones. So I know this may not be on in this room or on Facebook, or if it is, or vice versa, but I've got two here, and I want it noted. It is August, and they are there. There must be anniversaries of the military man that's passed. Just is coming up. I know September 11th is coming up, but as I said, it's separate to that incidents there. But I feel brothers in arms. I feel all that loveliness, but I do feel I'm in America. Okay. So please remember I've said that. And I feel with the guy with the scrubs on it, James or Jamie, is important, not knowing that it's his name, but I know that it's around him closely. And someone has got his letters still. And likewise with the other boy, you got letters there as well that was written. But I feel the one that is strict army, and I need to say this carefully, I feel that he said, I'm pleased it was me, because I'm happy and everything like that, but I know that I've got to speak this carefully, because I know that mum and dad should be incredibly proud, because I do feel that this guy stops other people going to the spirit world. And I actually want to talk about Captain America, because that's how he makes me feel. So there may be reference to that as well, because the guy with the colored underwear has Incredible Hulk underwear. They're green and they got men on there, because I can see that going through my mind. And he likes Batman. He likes Banana Man or Superman, because he has these different things there, but he has medical mind. Okay. So I probably lost all of you, but it needs to be on record that's there. And if this is a tone to someone's heart, they've stepped forward to just bring a lot of comfort to now, and thanking their family and their friends for honoring. And I do feel that someone who is will accept this, has just watched or is going to watch Top Gun Maverick, and someone else having the love of Mad Max, but the Tom Hardy version. Okay.
Wonderful. Can I make some announcements before you give the homework?
Please, please.
You can even think about the homework. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a little taste of what we do on our Mondays. Not every Monday do we do the demonstration of trance, usually the last one of the month. But we've got some great things coming up with Scott. Every Tuesday, he offers Sitting in the Power Hour. So it's much longer sitting than we sat today. And it's one at 8 a.m. London time, one at 5 p.m. London time. On Fridays, we do what's called In the Arms of Eternity, which is for sitting for healing. And then Scott sits as well. And we have a wonderful conversation with a friend in the unseen world. It's an opportunity for you to ask questions, not just me asking questions. You can ask questions as well. Our September classes are the next ones that start. We're just going to keep on going. Usually on Mondays. I know Scott may be traveling towards the end of the year. We might have to get creative, but we will be together. You can find everything we do, including our free Sunday gathering, which is our spiritual service with medium demonstration, at wedon'tdie.com. Just click on the store page. If you scroll down kind of towards the bottom of that page, there's a bunch of our healings in the arms of eternity that you can watch. Just use coupon code FREE. Be our guest and enjoy those. I think that's it for the big announcements, but everything is at the wedon'tdie.com page. So we're back over to Scott for a little homework, whether you want it or not. We always get it.
That's fine. So I mentioned in a class that the homework is backwards. So we did 3 practices. 1, asking, remembering, and then sit in that state. I would like you for 1 month, as much as you can, to sit in your power and then go through those 3 thoughts. Sit to think of an inspirer by asking the spirit world to draw close. And then when your concentration wavers, then ask for the loved one to step close so that you can feel this shift within mind, and then just sit in peace and see how you get on, and see if that sharpens your awareness of the spirit world. And if it does, then continue to do it. If it doesn't, don't give up, and neither do you give in. So that's our homework, if that's okay.
That's perfect. That's
And
perfect.
just quickly, the one about the two boys, the one that's going to receive it is either thinking or has seen the advert for Hocus Pocus 2, which is Bette Midler. Because just as Sandra was talking there, I had Hocus Pocus 2. They're looking to go and see it. They've seen it or seen the advert for it. So just keep that there as a little teaser.
Very exciting. And if you can receive that message or know who that's for, please send us a message, whether it's on Facebook or email or message or however you want to get that to us. Please do. For our students that are in our Zoom room right now, the replay of this will go in your library because, folks, we record everything we do because so many people can't join us live. And then those of you who are watching it in our Facebook group, you can watch it. It'll stay in the Facebook group, so you can rewatch it if you like. So with that, we're going to say goodbye to our friends on Facebook, just so I can disconnect here. But it's not goodbye. It's until we see you again. And those in our Zoom room, just stay nearby.
Take care.
Okay, so it's back, just being us, our cozy gang. Thank you, everyone, for being part of this. We just wanted to share the love, and I have a sneaky suspicion you felt the love today. And something Mr. Eric said that just really left real powerfully with me is the purpose is to melt away your fears. If any of who you're being, regardless of it's being in a capacity of mediumship or not, just let your light shine. Anything you can do to be of service to someone else and take away someone's fears, brighten their day, put a smile on their face, that's what it's all about. I know I feel very lucky to be part of this class and part of this community, and I really want to say thank you to everyone who has given their time so generously to be with Scott and I in the spirit world.